Okay, we're recording on 7.7 home ownership. And we're going to actually use there's some formulas on this sheet again that we'll look at. So here's the price of a home, $215,000. The bank requires 20% down and 2 points at closing time. So I remember buying my first house, boy, all these points and all this crap is really confusing. The remaining cost of the home is financed with 30-year fixed rate. So time is going to be 30 years. When you do monthly payments, N is always 12. Our interest rate is 5.8%. Our principal is, well, we're going to figure out what our principal is in a second. Our principal, this is not our principal. I'm going to put an X through it. Even though it looks like principal is our starting amount, that's not what we're going to get the loan for. So first, find a down payment. It says the bank requires 20% down. If I'm going to buy a house for $215,000 and I have to put 20% down, I have to multiply 215 times 20% on my calculator. And what does that equal?
43,000.
Yeah, if you put 20% down, you have to have 43,000. If you want to borrow money from the bank, you have to give them $43,000 to start off with. That just says, hey, you can afford a house. You can make monthly payments. Now, usually you don't have to put 20% down. I mean, unless you're going to get a conventional loan and there's no backing of it. But I mean, sometimes you can get away with 5%, depending on the house and the bank and all that. So 43,000 is your down payment. So if I had a house and I want to buy 215,000, that's the price of the house, but the bank requires me to give them 20%. That's 43,000. So I have to take that off the price of the house because I'm giving it to the bank already. 215 minus 43,000 is 175,000. So because I gave them 43,000 already, this is how much my loan is going to be for. That's my principal. So my principal is going to be 175,000. That's how much the loan is going to be because I already gave him 43,000. Okay. Now, next is find how much must be paid for the 2 points.
Yeah, so it's 172, not 175.
Okay, yeah, I'm blind. Sorry, I can't even read my own calculator. Thank you. 172. Find out how much must be paid for the 2 points at closing. It says the remaining cost of the home is financed at 30 years fixed rate. The bank requires 20% down and 2 points at the time of closing. So you have 2 points, by the way, 2 points means 2 percentage points, 2%. 2% of what's, you see, at the time of closing, this is the loan at the time of closing. So 172,000 times 2% is your points, is the money for the points. And I'm going to tell you what your points is in a second. 2% times 172,000.
3440.
3,440. Now, this is how much you pay the bank just to borrow money. This does not get deducted from your mortgage or anything else, or from your loan or anything else. That when you have to pay 2 points, 2% points or 2 points, you have to pay 2 percentage points of your loan amount. That's just so the bank gives you the money. That's extra processing fee for them. So you still got to pay 172, and you already paid 43. Now you have to pay an extra 3,440 as extra just so the bank gives you the loan and does the paperwork. So now it says, let's find your, and I'm going to scroll this down a little bit. Oh, this is going to mess me up. Let's find our monthly payment, excluding escrow. That means we're just going to look for our monthly payment. We're going to use the same payment formula that we use for the car. Payment equals P parentheses RN. So we're going to use the same payment formula as the car, P RN over 1 minus 1 plus, oh, this one should be in parentheses here. Plus Rn raised to the power of negative NT. So we're going to use that payment formula and put it in our calculator. I hate erasing all this stuff. Give me a second.
1,922.
Okay. So once you plug all that into that calculator, well, I'm going to write this down, and I'm going to, give me a second. I'm going to write what I have here so I don't lose it, even though you guys have it for me. So we paid $43,000 down. Our loan was $172. And 2 points was 3,440. I'm going to scroll this up if I can figure out how to do it. Oh, that's the last. Oh, no, that's not the last thing. So when we plugged all that into the formula, oh, now I'm really messed up because I thought so our formula, our payment formula should be, our starting amount was 172,000. Our interest, what was our interest rate?
5.8%.
5.8% over N is always 12 when you buy a house or a car. 1 minus 1 plus 5.8 over 12 minus N is 12 times years is 30 years. Oh Lord, make it 30 years worth of payments. And our payment, give me the answer again.
1,922. No. 1,000.
Oh,
$9.22. 1009.
009 and
0.22.
So if you buy a house and you get a loan for 172, you're paying about $1,000 a month using 5% interest. The interest rates are a lot lower than that right now. I think you can get them like in the threes right now, 3% interest. So that's our. Anybody trying to buy a house right now and seeing what the interest rates are for a house?
Yep.
What is it? You know?
It's around 3, like you said.
Yeah.
Depending where you're going, 2.74 to up to 3.75.
That's almost virtually free money. I think that's the best ever for an interest rate. I mean, if you're going to buy a house in the next couple of years, I'd buy it now because the interest rates are so low. Well, it'll probably be that low for the next year or so. It'll start going up after about a year. What is the total interest paid over the lifetime? So once again, we're making $1,009.22. We're making that monthly payment for 30 years times 30 years. And we have to make, wait, first of all, let me write it different. We're going to make that every month, 12 months out of the year times 30 years. Do you see? 12 months times 30 years is 063. 360 payments. On this house, you're going to make 360 monthly payments. So let's put that in our calculator. 1009.22 times 12 times 30. It'd be nice if I had my calculator on when I'm typing it.
It's an awful lot of money.
And people have a hard time realizing this. You buy a house for $172,000, you have to pay the bank $363,000 back. That's double.
That's a lot.
Yes, but over 30, that's why if you buy it over 30 years, it's really a lot. If you can afford it, buy a house for 15 years and your total payments would be a lot less. You know, it'd be not as much as doubled. No, if you think about that, that's a lot of money. You're paying a lot of interest into that bank. That bank's making some good money off of you.
True that.
Yeah.
Yep. Unless you pay cash for your house, you're never going to get what you pay for
Gotta
it.
have that money. Where am I? Let's see. Did I pass? Oh, we did that already. Okay, so wait, we're not done. We're not done with this problem. So what was our total payment for the house, by the way? I mean, our monthly payment?
Total monthly payment was $1,009.22.
When you buy a house, you're not going to pay the bank $1,009 a month. You're actually going to pay them more than that. You have to pay something called escrow. So they're saying, not only are you paying me $1,009, you're also going to pay me an extra $350. By the way, that escrow for that $170,000 house or $200,000 house in San Antonio is going to be a lot more than this. Escrow is probably going to be about $500, maybe $600. Does anybody know what escrow is when you pay it in onto a house? The extra payment you pay. This is your house payment, and this is your escrow. And when you make a house payment, by the way, it's already combined in your payment. If you get a payment book or something, they say, oh, you have to pay this amount. Your escrow is added in there. So they do this one, and then they add in your escrow. Anybody know what escrow is? Escrow is, do you think the bank is going to give you $200,000 loan if you don't have insurance on your house? So the bank is going to force you to buy insurance, house insurance, on a $200,000 house. The house just the insurance is probably going to be close to $2,000 a year. Let's call it $1,500. That's the insurance you have to pay on the house, and which is about, I don't know, what is about $1,200. That's about $120 a month. You also have to pay taxes to the city, and taxes on a $200,000 house are somewhere around $5,000 or $6,000. Your school tax and your property tax, all that's in your house payment. If you pay off your house, then you have to pay that all separate. You have to pay that. You said, I don't have a house payment anymore, but you still have to pay that. So the taxes on your house are somewhere around about $5,000. If you look at that, that's somewhere like $450 a month. So this is what a $200,000 house would cost in San Antonio, somewhere around $600 extra. But they're saying the escrow is only $350. So I'm going to say $1,359.22. See, the escrow is your taxes you have to pay to the city and schools. In Texas, you pay taxes to your school district. Every year, I pay taxes to the Judson School District because that's the district I live in. Every year, I also pay to the city. So there's two separate taxes you have to pay, and it's all into one tax form that they send you. It used to be separate, but now it's all in one tax form. You also have to pay your house insurance. So all of that, the bank makes sure you make that all one payment, and this is it. They call it principal and interest and taxes, PI, taxes and insurance. they call it PITI. This they just call PI, principal and interest. Your principal and interest. This is the taxes and the insurance. So principal of your, this is principal. This is interest. The second T is taxes. And the last I is insurance. That's your escrow, PITI. And so instead of you thinking you're making $1,009 a month payment, you have to make $1,359 a month payment. So your payment is usually more than you think at first because of your escrow, your insurance, and your taxes that you have to pay. So that even adds up even more. And the bad thing is, let's say 30 years from now, you pay off your house. You still have to pay this on your own now. That escrow, you have to pay your insurance company every month out of yourself. You have to write a separate check because now your bank pays them. You pay the money to your bank pays your taxes, your bank pays your insurance. As soon as you pay it off, then the bank says, forget it, I'm not doing that no more. Then you have to do it. So even if you pay off a house, you still have to make payments to somebody because you have to have insurance on it. You don't have to have insurance on the house. It could burn down and you won't be able to rebuild it. Or you have to pay taxes. If you don't pay taxes, the city will take your house from you and sell it at a tax auction. And there are lots of people waiting to buy that house cheap. All right. That's a tough one. Let's do one more. Well, how many do we have here? We're not going to do that part.
Number 4 is the last one. Then we have Mavo 132.
Yeah. I'm gonna do. Yeah, let's just do part of this one. I'm just going to do one more, calculate the monthly payment. So I wanted to make sure we do one more. So once again, the monthly payment formula, I want to make sure everybody gets practice typing this in. The monthly payment formula is payment equals principal times R over N divided by 1 minus parentheses 1 plus R over N. Parentheses minus NT, close parentheses. Actually, you can have the parentheses like that if you want, or you don't have to have it. So we're going to put this into our here, the principal. Suppose a borrower finance the remaining cost of the home with a 15-year, what remaining cost? Oh, we're still talking about the last problem. Is that 172? No.
Correct. 172.
Okay, let's use 172,000. That's how much we own. This is actually a good point to show you the difference between a 30-year payment and a 15-year payment. So that's the principal. The interest rate was 5.8, N is 12. Then we have 1 minus 1 plus R, which is 5.8 over 12, negative N, which is 12, times T, which is 15 years. So let's put that into our calculator. That's 5.8%. If you guys are copying me, make sure you put the percent sign. Cheaters. Fraction 172,000, parentheses, 5.8. Oh, I need to put a fraction there.
1432.91.
Let's see if anybody else did that, so I don't have to type it in.
That 5 times 8%.
5.8.
I'm just playing.
Yes, no, I know it looks like that. But anybody else get 1432? Anybody else doing it? I'm gonna try it. Let's see.
What was the answer again?
1432.91.
Correct. That's what I got
Okay.
too.
Good, good. Then I don't have to type it in. Okay.
Lazy.
Now that's just the PI, the principal and interest. Look at what was this is for 15 years. And do you see the payment is about $400 more for 15 years, but you have 15 years of payments only. You don't have 30 years. You're going to make half as many payments if you only pay $400 a month more in the principal and interest. So for only $400 more a month, if you can afford that, your house will be paid off in 15 years instead of 30 years, which is pretty cool. So if you multiply this payment times 15 years times 12 months every year, 1432.91 times 15 times 12, you're only going to pay $257,923. How much was the other one? It was like over 340,000, right? The first part.
363.
Yeah. Do you see? You're going to pay $100,000 less to the bank if you can make the payments in 15 years instead of 30 years. But for 15 years, you have to pay $400 more. So I just wanted to show you that you have to pay $400 more for that. But you end up paying the bank $100,000 less. Can you imagine then if you somehow saved that money, you'd have $100,000 in the bank? Because you're giving all that money straight to the bank for those payments for 30 years. At the end of 30 years, you just put all this money in the bank. You know, at the end of 15 years, you just start saving all the money, put it in the bank, and it just adds up. But usually people don't do that. They just start spending more.
Where does the 12 come from?
That 15 years, and each year has 12 months, so it's 15 times.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
So this one here where it says prepare a
Just
loan
making
amortization table, I'm not going to do that. I'm not worried about that. If you have a homework problem, you're out of luck on that one. But you
For example, too, what about B and C, or we just don't do it?
I'm not going to worry about that right now. I mean, there's the total injury. We did that on the other problem, you know, so I'm not worried about it. How much did you save from the 30 year to the 15 year? That was subtracting the two, and we said it was somewhere around $100,000.
All right.
105.
I wasn't too worried about the exact. You just looked at how much we paid in the 30 year overall and how much we paid in the 15 year overall, subtract the two. I wanted to get to this last one now because this uses a different formula, and you got to have your formula sheet ready when you're on taking the test. Don't forget, you can use all the notes you want. On this formula sheet, you need to read it. Down here, it has 2 paragraphs. So make sure you read those paragraphs down there. It says, affording a home. Total monthly mortgage payment has to be less than 28% of the monthly gross income. Total monthly credit card obligations have to be 36% of the monthly gross income. So it tells you whether you can afford a house or not.
Where does it say that?
Down at the bottom of this formula sheet, right below the payment formula, these 2 paragraphs down here. I'm on this formula, linear equations, and then the financial formula. It's the 4 pages I passed out in class.
Okay.
Okay, so it says it down at the bottom. So it says, and let me just show you what it is. I'm going to write down what it says, just kind of summarize it. It says monthly mortgage payment, has to be less than or equal to 28% of your gross income. Of your monthly gross income. And then it says your monthly credit obligation. Monthly credit obligation has to be less than or equal to 36% of your monthly gross income. Same thing. Monthly gross income. So a family's annual gross income is $57,000. So let's say you make $57,000. What is your maximum monthly payment you should have? The monthly mortgage payment should be less than or equal to 28%. So if you just multiply this by 28%, it can tell you what your maximum payment should be on a house. Or you can't go over that, or a bank won't give you money. 57,000 times 28%.
I got 15,960.
Yes, but that's the annual. You have to divide that. You have to 57,000 is your annual gross income. You have to change it to monthly by dividing this by 12. If you divide that number by 12, so you can buy a house if the mortgage payment is less than $1,330. Yeah, so that's what they're saying. If let's say you do all the math and the bank says, okay, you have to pay us $2,100 every month. Well, they won't give you the loan because it says you can only get a loan for you can only make payments for $1,330. They know that if you go past this 28% of of the amount of money you make, you'll probably default on the loan. You're probably, won't pay them. So if you make $57,000, that's the max loan you can get. Now, what is your monthly total credit obligation? It's the same thing, 57,000 times 36%, your credit obligation, 36%. So that means your credit obligation is not just your credit cards, it's your house payment, it's your car payment, all kinds of stuff like that. So 57,000.
That would be 20,520.
And don't forget to divide that by 12 because this is
1710.
And if you divide it by 12,
1710.
there you go. $1,710. So that's your monthly credit obligation that you can have. In other words, do you see the difference? It's somewhere around $400. That means your house payment is $1,300. So that means another $400 max you can have on car payments and other things, other loans, like if you have loans on your furniture. So if your car payment and loans on your furniture add up to more than $400, once again, they're not going to give you the loan. So that's how you qualify to buy a house. They check all these things and they verify that you can afford it. If you can't afford it, if it doesn't match with these numbers, they won't give you the house. They won't give you the loan.
All right.
All right. And I think that's all.
Are we going to do part C too?
Let's see. If your monthly payment is 80% of your maximum amount of the family can afford, what is the maximum amount the family should spend each month on other debts? No, I'm not too worried about that.
All right. Well, I did it anyway. Can I get the answer?
Sure. Give me your answer.
Okay. So it went from, so I multiplied 57,000 times 80%, which gave me 45,600. I divided that by 12, giving me 3,800.
Nope.
That's not what they're asking. This that's not, I don't think that's what they're asking. If your monthly mortgage payment is 80% of the maximum amount the family can afford, what is the maximum amount of family should spend each month on all other debts?
$342.
What was that number that we just had above that?
1710.
Say that again.
1710.
Was it seven? The right above
Oh.
us?
Yeah, the maximum total monthly credit obligations they should have is
No.
1710.
The monthly
Mortgage.
okay.
The mortgage is 1330.
Yeah, that's what I was. Wait, if your monthly mortgage payment is 80% of the oh no, you're right. Give me a like of your maximum your family can afford. The 1700 is that maximum your family can afford. That's what they said. Your total credit obligation. So what was that? 17 what?
10.
1710.
I'm gonna say your max obligation. 1710, and 80% of that, or times 80%.
1368.
1368. So that means once again, if you did the 1710 minus 1368,
You get 342.
yeah, so you can only spend $342 on other stuff. That's just on other debts. That's see, I mean, this was another scenario. If the bank just said 80%, like that, I mean,
How'd you get the 342?
Yeah.
Isn't that what?
Well, I did 17.8.
Subtract the two. 17.
Oh, okay.
Minus 368. I'm sorry, I didn't show you. It was. I'm trying to write 1710 minus 1368 and 342. And that's why when you buy a house, they say you should have your car paid off already when you go buy a house. You shouldn't have any other loans because it's hard enough for a bank to give you the money for a loan. When you go buy a house, you should try to have no car. After you buy the house, then you can go buy a new car because they don't do the math after. They only do the math before. So everybody always like pays off their car, all their credit card debts. You shouldn't have any credit card debts. Pay off your credit cards, pay off your car, and then buy a house. After you do that, then they don't care. You can buy as much credit cards and cars you want, as much debt as you want. When you buy a new house, you might want to buy new furniture too and get a loan on that. But that's where people usually go broke. They buy all that crap after they buy a house. All right, so that's it. I think that was the last part of that. Let me hit stop for recording. Give me a second. If I can figure out how to do that. There it is.